Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our daily devotion for Monday. We are in June 1st, Monday. When will this pandemic end? I'm going to continue doing this. By the way, if you're encouraged by it, let me know. I chose to do this book of Exodus, one chapter per day. So read the chapter, read the next chapter. We're on chapter 3 today. So read 4 for tomorrow. And catch up, read 1, 2, 3, 4, in case you're just joining us. We're trying to see the storyline and then get a nugget. Can't do verse by verse here. So in chapter 3 of Exodus, we have Moses in the desert. He has left Egypt with the police coming after him because he killed someone. And he's afraid. And he's now in the desert of Midian, and he is married, and he is taking care of sheep and goats, or whatever they had. And just waiting and learning, can you imagine how the attacks of guilt must have come on him? Raised in Pharaoh's palace, and now, little goat, come over here. And you know what? He's like 35 miles away from the nearest Dunkin' Donuts. There's nothing where he is. Well, he sees a bush one day burning, but it's not being consumed. And that draws his attention. He comes over. And as he goes there, God begins to speak to him and says, take your sandals off. You're on holy ground. And I am going to raise you up. Read it carefully in Exodus 3. I'm going to raise you up. I've heard the cry of my people. You're going to go to Pharaoh. And you are going to tell him, let my people go. But Pharaoh is not going to listen to you. His heart's going to be very hard. And I'm going to reveal my right hand of power. Right hand speaks of power in the Old Testament especially. I'm going to show my power, and I'm going to deliver my people from the clutches of Pharaoh and Egypt. And it's interesting here that he is feeling so unqualified that he says, who am I? He says to God, who am I? Who am I? This is going to begin an argument that he has with God. It's amazing. He's fighting God. God made the wrong choice. I got to coach you now on who you should use. Who am I to go to Pharaoh? This is not the most ridiculous thought in the world. A guy burned out in the desert, 80 years old, failed 40 years earlier, killed a guy, fled out of fear, has nothing going for him. No, you will go to the mightiest leader of the mightiest empire of that day, and you will say, let maybe 1 million or 2 million, they estimate, Hebrews working as slaves, being ground in the dirt. Let my people go. Who am I? No, I'm going to send them into the land that I promised them. And there's the Amorites and Jebusites and all these ites live there. Isn't that interesting? The promise was to get them out of Egypt into the promised land. But there were enemies that would have to be fought down the road. That's why God, he strengthens us through battles we fight now so we can be ready for the bigger battle down the road. You know, David slew the bear and the lion. So when Goliath came, he had seen the track record of God and he had faith. But Moses said to God, who am I? You know, many times people get ahead of God, but then many others of us are behind God. A lot of type A, hyper people, many times when we're filled with ourselves, We want to do everything for God. I want to be a preacher and stand in front of 30,000 people, and I want to do this and do that. And I want to be used in the gifts of the Spirit and this and that. And we get ahead of God, and we make the decisions, and we do all kinds of things. We're ahead of God. That's bad. Got to keep in step with God. But I think the greater problem is being behind God. Maybe you're behind God. God's calling you to do a short-term mission trip, to volunteer for a ministry, to step out, start praying for people, to start evangelizing in your neighborhood, to do that thing that God has put in your heart. And you envision it like we all do. I wonder how that will work out. Ooh, who am I? I can't do that. I'm not clever enough. I don't know enough verses. Give me about 20, 25 years more to study the Word. And I want to get the Hebrew and the Greek. Maybe I'll get a MDiv, Masters of Divinity. Then I'll be ready. It's always mañana. Sometimes it's because of the guilt that we have from past failures with God. Maybe Moses had that on his mind. Wait a minute, I'm going from murderer and runaway criminal to deliverer. No, I don't think so. God said, no, with me, everything's possible. Just focus on me and my word to you. I bet Peter felt that way. Let's bring it to the New Testament. After he denied the Lord 3 times, and on the day Jesus died, he was nowhere to be found. Then Jesus rose from the dead. Did you know that he made a private appearance that we don't know about just to Peter? Because he had great plans for Peter, but he knew what Peter would be going through. Guilt, sense of failure. I was boasting. I thought I was all that. No, these other guys might fail you, Lord, but not me. And he denied him 3 times. Lord appeared privately to him. I'm not going to imagine because the scripture's silent. Where the scripture's silent, we should be silent. But you just know it was a word of encouragement of some kind. He didn't throw Peter away. He doesn't throw you away. Doesn't throw me away. Sometimes I felt like I ought to be thrown away. Just such a mess, such a failure. And God doesn't throw people away. He picks us up, dusts us off. He says, come on, trust me. So I want to say that to you today. Forget the past. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Don't say, who am I can't. Say this, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. God bless you.